Hello to anyone and everyone watching this video. Today, we're going to be looking at the Max Factory Figma figures of Weiss from RWBY, and of course, RWBY from RWBY, who is for some reason in a much bigger box that was covered in tissue paper from the shipper, as opposed to Weiss, who's in a more normal-sized box. And these were figures I've been hoping would exist for a little bit, and was really glad to see happen. And now that I have them, it's almost kind of giving a big mix of emotions, because I had these shipped in a pile of loot from Big Bad Toy Store like an hour or so before finding out that Rooster Teeth, the company that owns the RWBY franchise, is being shut down. And now these figures just make me feel a whole lot of emotion when I look at them, because I was a big fan of the many forms of content produced by that company. But even still, these toys are what we're talking about, and I was really glad that these toys happened. I was hoping that they would happen ever since the company included the characters as part of their Nendoroid line, and I bought the whole set of them in hopes that them selling well would result in getting figures. The only Nendoroids I've ever purchased too, because I mean they weren't really my thing, but as you can see I have for all of them RWBY, Blake, Weiss, Yang, and of course everybody's favorite RWBY character, Thomas the Tank Engine. And they are nice. I like them a lot. Very cute, very fun. But I admittedly bought them as more of a means of more as a means to an end to get these two figures that we're talking about today. Come on, RWBY, stay still. Gotta admit, aside from RWBY's refusal to stay still, this is pretty cute. And these are not my first Figmas either, because I do have the Catwoman based on the Batman Ninja movie, because I really like that movie. I really like Catwoman as a character ever since I was a child, and I love this design of her, so I just had to get it. And I just had to get these because I've wanted proper figures based on this show for a long time. And even though RWBY came out first, we're gonna start with Weiss, just because she is apparently got less going on, I guess, because she's in the smaller box. And let's just get her out. Okay, thankfully, can confirm, neck not broken. She is a functional, proper figure. Beep. Okay, this is me in the future doing the edit for this video, and I got to address that comment about her neck not being broken, because when I saw her in the box looking down, I was concerned there was a small chance she might be damaged. And I could have sworn I recorded myself saying that when she was in the box, but it's just not there in the final video. And I thought that was weird, and I knew I couldn't let that line just pass by. And I didn't want to throw away the video just because of that, so you know, I just wanted to clarify that a little bit. Yeah, all right, let's just go back to the video. Beep. And there she is. She can stand on her own, but she does come with supports for a big giant stand, so you can do stuff with her in the air. You just plug that part in there, and then this smaller peg that goes into her back. Not really going to be using that right now. And she has pretty decent articulation. I do have a problem with the way this joint on her looks. Something about it. I do prefer this type of torso articulation, but something about the way it's hidden here doesn't work perfectly for me. And it may also be the paint too, because the paint on the top part of her shirt, blouse, or whatever this would technically be called, this article of clothing, seems a little too thin. Like it could have used another layer. It may be looking better on the camera, but on my eyes, it isn't looking right. I also like the softer material, rubber-like material her skirt's made out of. That is pretty cool. It makes it very flexible for moving her legs around and posing. And I thought the underskirt area, when looking at it in the box, almost looked like it was actual fabric. So, you know, it's really cool that it's able to emulate that illusion. Also, for some reason, she had this little thing packed in between those two skirt layers in the packaging on the front of her for some reason. I don't know why. Just extra protection. Here are her little boots. Got the pattern on them. Got the red inside. Here's her back. She's got the snowflake on her jacket, and she's got a little satchel. It's been a while since I've seen those first 3 seasons, so I completely forgot she had a satchel back there. She's, of course, got her trademark gigantic ponytail. She's got her little crown thingy on her head. And there is her face. She's looking a little hypnotized here. She does have some alt faces here. She has, let's see if I don't drop it, a angry screaming face. Yeah. And then she has this more shocked face with some blushing on it. And I don't know why she would have a face like that. These figures are technically based off the Ice Queendom spin-off series, which I have yet to have a chance to watch, so I don't know. Maybe she makes that expression in the show. And I think it's a safe guess that to change the faces, you gotta pull off the front of her hair. Yep. And then just gently. There we go. Yeah, there we go. That looks very disturbing. Let's use the angry face. Come on. There we go. She's an angry girl, and I'm really enjoying just messing around with the ponytail. That's not a form of articulation you get on most figures. But it's very fun. And she, of course, being a premier adult collectible toy that most people would be mad to hear called a toy, she comes with a bunch of hands, and they come on one of these nice little collectors storage racks. But she actually has so many that they can't all fit on the racks. She's got these 2 extra ones that are kept on these pegs. So I am going to swap those out for ones that would be better for holding her weapon. But as you can see on the sprue, she's got 2 pointing with her fingers, being like, yeah, go that way or something. That's a holding hand, a closed fist, and a relaxed hand. Whereas she's packaged with these more splayed out hands. And then the ones that are kept on separate pegs are, well, are kind of holding but also pointing hands, which I assume would be for holding the trigger on her sword. Jeez. Because she, of course, has... Ooh. Did not realize it could move. She, of course, has her giant rapier with a 6-shooter inside it for shooting her dust magic. But let's just quickly change her hands out. And this will probably be hopefully simple. Just... There we go. Nice, clean removal. Then we'll take this one. And... Oh. Yeah, I think that's in. Nope. Well, the hand is in. The sword gun. Or I guess, is hers a gun? I know that's a big joke with RWBY, because she says it in the one episode talking about her scythe, but it's like Weiss's weapon is like the one weapon where it's like it uses gun technology, but I don't think she's ever technically shot a bullet or anything. It's like Weiss's weapon is the one where I question if it is actually a gun, like the iconic line says. Kind of want to swap her face around just to have her screaming less, so but we'll keep her like this for now. And here's her sword. It's really big. It probably is this long in the original series. Either that or they made it longer in Ice Queendom. Like, I never really noticed the length of the sword, but she's got it. She can hold it. She can definitely... Actually, I don't think she would probably be able to hold it two-handedly because the bottom of the hilt is a lot thicker than the top, so she probably would have a harder time holding it there. But she is looking really nice. And one more thing she comes with is she comes with the glyphs. She actually comes with 2 of them, and they're made of thin plastic. The Nendoroid did this too, although if I'm remembering correctly, because I didn't pull out the ones of these the Nendoroid came with. The Nendoroid had one in this color and then one in black for, I think, the gravity dust, if I remember right. And hers are both in this whitish blue color. And she also comes with 2 of these extra arms to put on the figure stand that can hold the glyphs for when she's doing them in the air. They just slot in like this. So you can have that and have it like she's making them in the air, or she usually stands on them, so you'd have to plug her in here, obviously, to have her fly in with it in the background. And I noticed on the back of the box they also show just placing the glyphs at the bottom of the stand so she can have them on the ground. She's having a hard time standing on that, actually. She could stand great when not here. Oh, now I guess she's been knocked out of balance. There we go. That's basically it. Like, that's all to her. It's pretty simple. I am liking it. Weiss is probably my second favorite character in the show, next to Blake, although in the more recent seasons I've been more invested in Weiss's story, but I do like Weiss a lot, so I was really hopeful for liking this figure, so I may be a little bit biased, but I think this is pretty good. Pretty good. Oh, one more thing really quick. Having her face swapped back to neutral, having her feet pretty crooked. I wanted to... Oh. Okay, that's a little unflattering of her. I wanted to do a little side-by-side with the Nendoroid. And now I have to get this back in her hand. It's in there enough. Just to get a little side-by-side between show accurate and the stylized one. And thought that'd be a little fun. Here they are on their faces. The Nendoroid's looking off to the side being like, how dare you compare me to her? The scar is more noticeably visible on the Figma than the Nendoroid. It's kind of faded on the Nendoroid. I am liking the paint a little bit more on the shirt area of the Nendoroid than this one, though. But yeah, they're both pretty good. It's just, do you want a cute one that can't really be moved that much because its limbs will fall off? Because I assume that's how all Nendoroids are designed. Or do you want one that's more sturdy and properly looks like the character? That's really more your call than mine. So we're just going to have Weiss stand in the background now and move on to good old RWBY herself. I'll get rid of this tissue paper first. There we go. And here's her big old box with that big old window of her in there. And you can barely see her because she's covered behind a bunch of plastic. Her scythe in both scythe and sniper rifle mode. And there's a picture of her on the box. Her screaming on the bottom. Her screaming... Well, that's the top, but it's also on the bottom. It's her being happy on the side. Her still being happy on this side. Some cross cells on the back. I'm kind of noticing here her head sculpt on these pictures, and even behind all that plastic wrapping is looking a little odd. Like not 100% her to me. Maybe I am just getting confused. Maybe I'm... Again, it's been a while since I've rewatched those first couple of seasons. Maybe I'm just thinking more of her later looks where she has the different haircuts, but at the same time, look at it next to the Nendoroid, and the Nendoroid feels a little bit more like the character here, but let's wait till we get her out of the box for that. Let's hope I'm just seeing things. Yeah, the head is still kind of bothering me. It just doesn't feel right. Like, something about it just feels off to me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just misremembering things, but yeah, okay. But still pretty cool. Very nice. Always like the pure black of RWBY's original outfit. Well, not pure black, because it still has a lot of the red, and of course there's the fade in her leggings, but there was something I really like about her first outfit. I am a big fan of simplicity in designs, But at the same time, I think her season 7 and 8 outfit, like, that is probably my preferred of her actual designs, but I really, really do like this one still. And something I noticed getting her out of the box is that she has toe joints, unlike Weiss. That is probably the only big difference in articulation, other than also she has her cloak, or hood, as it could be called, since she is based on a Little Red Riding Hood, and that has some ball joints, so you can... oh. This one is seeming to be a little stuck. Okay, I'm not going to mess with that too hard, don't want to break it. And of course the front bit here is a bit pliable. So yeah, so of course you can have it moving around when she's doing her whooshes and woos around everywhere, erasing your flashes and your Sonic the Hedgehog figures. If you want her doing that, of course. Flash makes more sense because, of course, there are official DC RWBY crossovers, and she did race the Flash in at least the first one. Didn't really acknowledge it in the second. Flash isn't even in the second one. Or maybe he is, and he's just unimportant. But they don't really have RWBY and Flash interact in the movies either. And the movies are the best of the DC crossovers, in my opinion, anyway. Well, like, yeah, she's very similar to Weiss. She's got that same nice, soft material for her skirt. Look at that silver paint for the rose on her belt. And the rose is permanently stuck there. I'm bringing that up because I know there was another import RWBY figure made a long time ago, and they only did RWBY herself. They didn't do anyone else. And you could swap the rose out for a cross because she apparently had a cross on her belt in like the initial trailer when they did like those character special trailers, which were really just short movies. She does, of course, have the crosses up here on her cloak, and you can remove her cloak too if you want that look, which, I mean, we never really saw her without her cloak when wearing this outfit in the show, or at least the proper show, because again, haven't seen Ice Queendom, which these figures are technically based off of, which might be why her face looks like that. And ooh, her neck is looking long. That's probably just because of the joint being exposed, but yeah, that feels weird. But I bet putting the cloak back on would make that completely unnoticeable. So she's probably going to have a harder time standing because of the cloak too. So I'm gonna actually use her figure stand. She has a much smaller one than Weiss, only made for holding her. And of course you can plug that in here. Oh, having a little bit of trouble doing this. Probably because of the gloves, but I have my reasons for wearing them. And you don't need to know about them. So there she is standing. There she is with Weiss. Just really quickly, we can put Weiss back in the background. And she also has her own tray of hands. Like Weiss, she comes with splayed out hands default, and on the sprue she has the closed fists, the weapon holding hands, some more relaxed hands, and another set of weapon holding hands, because I guess 2 of these are for scythe mode and the others are for gun mode. She also has a 9th hand. That is again a weapon holding hand. No extra peg to put it on. And she too has 2 faces. She's got her screaming face, her ah, and she got a cute little winky face. And I bet, just like Weiss, These can be done by going to take her cloak off to get better access in there. It will be done by just pulling off the front of her hair. Yeah. And then reach in. That actually bizarrely almost looks, aside from holes, like that could just be her haircut. Be a weird haircut. But it looks like it could work. This does not look like it can work, obviously. And let's just put the winky face in. And come on, get that hair back in. And there we got our little winky Ruby. And she actually looks a little bit better with this face than the default one. Or maybe I'm just starting to get used to this hair sculpt. But I'm actually kind of liking her a little bit better with this face. In fact, I'm just going to keep her with that face on. And we got the only other things she comes with are her weapon, the crescent rose, in both scythe form and gun form. And man, scythe form is huge, and I bet it is very easy to break this. This is why I don't really like adult collector stuff. Also, just because of the design, because this definitely was not made to be a toy. Ever. Look at how thin parts of this are. Especially... well, I was going to say especially the handle here that she has to hold, but it stayed fine on the gun when it fell, so hopefully they stick together well. In fact, let's swap Ruby's hands and get her holding these weapons. Alright, here she is with the sniper rifle. She holds it pretty decently. I'm having a little trouble getting this arm here to look alright. The hand she's using here is that one that she only has one of, like that extra 9th hand out of her extra hands, because I think that one is specifically for holding that bar on her weapons. Oh. Yeah, the holding the weapon is kind of loose, like it was on Weiss, because how easily I knocked hers out of her hand. And that is a bit upsetting. Yeah, I would appreciate a tighter grip. That is something. And there's the look at the barrel. Jeez. She is not holding this too well. I mean, she holds it fine as long as you don't knock it into her, but like getting it into her hands and then wanting to play with the toy. It's the collector-made toy problem. They just get rid of the fun tactile, and it is just about looking good on a shelf, not about playing. But let's just get her cloak back on and have her re-secure her fit. And her legs are going back. I don't want to re-grab the stand right now and just have a proper looking cloaked Ruby with her sniper rifle. Looks pretty decent. Pretty good. I just wish she could hold it better. Now, let's move on from the rifle. And of course move on to her more iconic scythe form of her weapon, and we are going to pick her figure stand back up because there is absolutely no way she is going to stand carrying around this big heavy thing. So let's just jab this back into her back. And I should bring up when holding the gun. I was using this hand and I swapped to this type of hand that has more of a square shaped hole on the inside of it for the square peg of the hilt that she is meant to be holding. And of course it still has that little peg for her to hold with this hand as long as you want her holding the scythe with the blade facing behind her. If you want her to hold it with the blade in front, you're gonna have to be a little bit more creative in terms of how you are going to have her hold it. But yeah, it does look good. It's really looking nice. It's of course the iconic way RWBY is known. Not a lot of characters in fiction wielding scythes, and not a lot that are good guys either. It is really hard to get this thing in her back. Hang on. There she is. And she is looking good with this thing, even if she can't support the weight of it. These are unfortunately designed to just go on shelves and not really be touched. And I like toys that you can play with, but I sadly feel that because RWBY is an IP that is primarily aimed at, well, I guess it's kind of aimed at everybody, but because it's an IP that stars women, that toy companies that want to make fun toys to play with are afraid to touch it. Also, I don't know if the IP holders at Rooster Teeth ever bothered to pitch it on any mainstream toy companies. But let's, Weiss, no stabbing. No stabbing, RWBY. Let's bring in Weiss again for a proper side-by-side. And let's just zoom in a little. God dang it. Camera did that weird thing again. Just see how good they look together, even though RWBY is slightly elevated by her stand. And zoom back out. And we'll put Weiss in the back again for a second. Actually, no. Let's keep Weiss in here. Get RWBY a little more centered. Weiss. Oh. Weiss. Stand. And let's just bring in my Catwoman just for the heck of it, since these are the only free Figmas I have. And RWBY and Weiss have met Catwoman. Stand, Selena. There we go, just to see how that looks for the fun of it. Let's also bring in some more mainstream 6-inch figs with Kamala Khan and CoverGirl. Hang on. And CoverGirl from Marvel Legends and G.I. Joe Classified, just to see how they look next to these ladies. Actually, they're a bit smaller than mine. I think Figmas are a little bit more of like a 5-inch scale, maybe. Or since they're both technically, this is based off the, of course based off the early years of the series when they were teenagers, so maybe that's why they're smaller, because they definitely did get a little taller as the show went on. Let's just get these two out of here. Let's put Weiss in the background again for a little bit. And bring in Nendoroid RWBY for the side-by-side. And she's having a little bit of a hard time standing up straight. But yeah, let's see the two of them side by side. And you can see what I'm talking about with the faces, right? How, like, something about it, especially with the hair, looks more right on the Nendoroid than the Figma. I don't know, maybe that's just me. But they do look nice together, RWBY with Chiba RWBY. And you know what? Just because we brought him out at the beginning of the video, here's Thomas again. Because I feel RWBY and Thomas would be the best of friends. That's absolutely why I have this Thomas, and not because Mattel doesn't make cool Thomas stuff anymore. Nope. This definitely isn't me getting a new toy of a character I have loved longer than I was capable of remembering things. Nope, nope, nope. It was definitely not, except that's exactly what it was. But yeah, these are pretty decent. These are decent figures. Weiss is definitely better, though. Like, I do think the Weiss figure is a lot better than RWBY. But RWBY is good. RWBY's really good. I hope Blake and Yang will still happen. A lot of stuff is up in the air and very concerning, thanks to the shutdown of Rooster Teeth, both in the context of the people working there and in the context of their IPs. But I think they've said they're going to do everything they can to keep RWBY going, and I think they'll succeed. I think RWBY is successful enough that people will fund the show to keep it moving after the shutdown. And I hope everyone, regardless of at that company, I hope that everyone who worked at that company, regardless of if they worked on this IP or not, finds a new, happy, stable life. But the point is, these are some very decent figures, and if you have the income and would like some posable RWBY figures, I would suggest getting them. But if you're only going to get one, get Weiss. She's the better one, unless you really, really don't like Weiss and really, 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 really like RWBY. And now I'm rambling on a little bit too much, so we're just going to end the video here. Thanks for watching, and see you guys around.